What is up, and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy flippinstoop. I'm gonna try a little different angle today, and see how that works out. I was talking the other day, and in a lot of my video content, I talk about the importance of consistency. I talk about the importance of discipline. I talk about the importance of failures and setbacks, right? And it just so happens one of those happened to me yesterday. Okay, and I want to go over that. Um, it, it was frustrating for me. Yesterday was a very frustrating day, but I turned it around to being good. Why? Because I have somebody that holds me accountable. I talked about the importance of, if you have struggles holding yourself, let me click this light on quick. No, that's going to be too bright. If you have struggles holding yourself accountable, try to get an accountability partner. Try to, whether it's your significant other, if you don't have one of your friends, somebody that genuinely cares about you. Because if they don't care about you, they're not going to hold you accountable. And I'm not telling you holding your hand, but giving you little reminders. You know, and I'm going to tell you what happened yesterday. So the morning was good. I was able to make a video, and then I was able to make my second video. And then shortly thereafter that, as I was getting ready to list items, our internet went out, right? So immediately I called the internet company, and they are saying everybody that has this service is out for the moment. I ran it a little about that, saying, you know, I run my business from this, and we expect a reliable service. Obviously, accidents happen, something happened to where we had no internet. So I went in panic mode, right? I'm not going to be able to list. Because, unfortunately, in the area I'm in the rural area I'm in, regardless of what cell phone service I have, listing items is impossible from just the cell phone, or the cell phone service, because it would take me, oh my God, probably an hour to load up every item. It would just drive me nuts. I feel like I'd have did too much work for too little bit of progress, right? So I text my fiance, my accountable partner. She's at work, and I'm like, shit, you know, there's nothing I can do. There's no internet on. She says, yes, there is something you can do. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, elaborate on that a little bit. She's like, well, you've been talking about organizing for a long time. So what I mean by that is that you're always going to have setbacks. Okay, it's inevitable. You're always going to have setbacks, and things are going to happen. But there's always something else you could do, right? Maybe you can't find inventory today. Maybe you're struggling, like I said, to find inventory. There's always something else you could do, whether that's revising items. Maybe you need to tighten up your inventory system, maybe you need to do what I did, what I did last night, which was organize our room. I got a little bit more room now. I've shifted some of my boxes up top. I made it more roomy for me and more organized, and it feels better. I don't think there's nothing better than having an organized area in your work area. I know that because I've worked a lot of shop jobs where for 30 minutes before you punched out, you had to clean your area, right? Nobody wants to work in a dirty area, or you can't find your scissors, or you can't find your pens, or you can't find your whatever it is you're using throughout your reselling journey, right? There's nothing more irritating, and it makes you inefficient, right? If you can't find your scissors and it takes you 15 minutes to find your scissors, that's 3 listings for me. Right? That's 3 listings I could have listed in those 15 minutes. That's money. That could be $100, right? That could easily be $100 out of 3 items. So it's inconvenient, but there's always something we can do. Okay, when it comes to reselling, there is, in any matter of fact, in any business, there is always something you can do outside of your rituals and routines. Right? I talk a lot about failures, right? The failure taught me something. That failure yesterday, unexpected failures happen, right? That I can't say that failure was absolutely my fault, right? I can't really take responsibility for that. But if I would have sat back, laid in bed, watched Netflix, and moaned and groaned about it all day, that would have been my fault, right? I got something accomplished still. So even when you can't find inventory, even if your internet goes out like mine did and you can't get items listed, there is something you can do. Granted, that messed up my streak that I had, right? I had a streak. I wasn't missing any days for this entire year. That messed that up. That was out of my control, right? Some things are out of your control. Maybe something unfortunate happens in your life. You lose a loved one. You got a funeral to attend, right? I know that's way far to the left. But things happen in our life, right? But there's always a way Don't, like today, I'm not allowing what happened yesterday to impact the progress I make today. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go right back to the same number. I'm going to make sure that's done. I'm sure that it's one day is not going to affect me that bad, but I don't want you to get in the habit of that either, right? Don't get in the habit of, oh, one day didn't hurt me that bad, so I'll do another day next week, and then next, and all that starts adding up. And if you do the math, if you miss a day a week on your number, and you do the math for 50 times that by 52, if you're doing 10 items a day, and you're missing one day a week, you times 52 times 10, that's 520 items shy that you could have had in your inventory. It don't seem like much for one day, but when you start breaking it, or when you start getting into a poor habit of missing time, it adds up over time. Same example, if you were to put a $20 bill to the side every day for a year, right? $20 bill don't seem like shit, but at the end of the year, it's damn near 10 grand, right? It's a big chunk of fucking change, right? So if you're listing 20 items a day, for example, and you start missing a day every week, that's going to make a significant impact on how many items you have in your inventory, what your sales look like. I'm a firm believer the ones that win on eBay are simply this: disciplined and consistent. It is showing up, doing what you say you're going to do, and do it on a daily basis. I think what's scaring a lot of people what scares a lot of people in the beginning, like, oh my God, I'm going to have to do this every day for the rest of my life. And what's so bad about that, right? What's your first of all, if your perspective is, I just want to build something and then be able to be in a beach, soaking my feet in the sand, drinking margaritas all day, that's unrealistic, right? That's a vacation. Okay. You hear a lot of people saying, what's your retirement dreams? Oh, to go on a beach and just sip margaritas all day. Well, it's not really reasonable because, within a couple years of doing that, you're going to be sunburnt so bad, your skin's going to be weathered, you're going to be an alcoholic, and your life's really not going to be that great for you, right? Now, for a couple days, that wouldn't be bad, right? But for a real reasonable retirement plan, that's kind of daunting and depressing because, first of all, alcohol's a depressant. And if you're drinking it every day, margaritas all day, every day with your feet in the sand, a lot of people say, well, that's the dream I want. Well, then, I think you should, I'm not telling you what you should dream of, but I think maybe you should change your perspective in reality. Like, spend some time there. What would your life look like if you woke up every day and you went out on the beach and you drank margaritas from the time you woke up till the time you went to bed? Well, first of all, you'd be bored after a while, and then you get depressed, and you're going to be an alcoholic, so your probability of cirrhosis to the liver is great, right? Your health isn't going to be great. You're going to feel weak. You're going to look like shit, right? Eventually, that's not going to be fun. So I think our perspective on what life is supposed to look like sometimes is off, like mine was too, right? That was my dream and goal. Oh, I want to be on an island and just, retire on an island, and I own the whole island, and all I do all day long is sit out and drink beer from the time I wake up. This is when I drank beer, right? This is my vision when I drank beer. Drink beer from the time I get up till the time I go to bed, and it just, no worries, no stresses, right? Now, I think that's impossible, regardless of what you retire with, right? I think it's impossible to wish for no stresses. If you wish for no stresses, you're playing it so safe, you're not going to have that satisfying of a life, right? Stress is necessary in life. So I think a lot of people's perspective is off, but my perspective was off, right? But what I want, my main focus on this video is not to talk about you retiring. It's actually to show, when I first started this video, I was going to take people through this video content, which was a couple years ago, not this group, or not this YouTube channel, but it was to take people through the ups and downs, right? And yesterday was a down for me, but I gained a positive out of it, right? What did I do? A bad thing happened. I couldn't list, right? I had a problem, right? So you have to figure out a solution to make you still feel like you made some progress somewhere. And I looked around, my fiance told me, hey man, you've been talking about organizing your work area now for the past 2-3 months, and you ain't done shit, right? So how about you focus on that? And it was amazing. Did I like doing the process? Not really. I did not like moving all the boxes and cleaning all up and tightening things up. But now coming down here today, it is rewarding for the work I put in, right? Now, if I would have laid down on the couch and turned Netflix on and grabbed a bag of potato chips and didn't go to the gym and a big fat soda and just sat and moped all day, what would have been the reward from that? That would have been a choice, right? Both of them were choices that I decided to make, right? The one choice of organizing and getting things cleaned up to where I feel like it's more functionable work area, gave me a good reward, right? Even though I didn't want to do it. Now, I'm not saying I did not want to sit on the couch and turn Netflix on and grab a bag of Cheetos and freaking a big old fat cherry Pepsi, right? Because I love cherry Pepsi. But if I would have did that, I would have woke up and felt defeated. I would have woke up and felt like shit because I let myself down, right? What I'm trying to get at is when these failures come up, which, look, guys, I'm 4 years in, failure happened. Sometimes it's out of your control. Sometimes it's not even your choice, right? It was not my choice. I didn't call up the cable company and say, hey, can you shut your cable company down for the entire day? We fucking that batshit crazy, right? I did not want that to happen, but it happened. And we found a way to take it and turn it into a positive, okay? And you're going to have setbacks. It might not be your cable goes out. You might not be able to get inventory today. So what? Go into your store and revise your entire store. If you have the whole day, a lot of people only got, it's okay if you only got 200 to 1,000 items in your store. So revise. It don't take all day to revise 1,000 items. You could literally do that if you were consistent, probably in a few hours, right? And do something to maybe whatever you've been putting off, right? Because we all put something off when it comes to reselling. We all put something off when it comes to running a business. Whatever that is. It could be as simple as dusting off your computer, dusting off your desk. How many of us have something sitting on our desk right now where a computer's sitting that you've been thinking about for the past month to move and clean up under it, and you just haven't done it yet, right? I can raise my hand to that. I didn't clean my computer desk for like 2 months, right? Dust on it, and the keyboards had coffee stains on it. You know what I'm saying? So there's always something you can do that will give you better results that day and the next day. Okay, I said I could have sat down, moped about it all day long, whined about it, bitched and complained about it instead of taking action. You'll hear people bitching about reselling. You'll hear people bitching about slow sales. Okay, my firm belief is when your sales are slow, use that for motivation to make your sales good. And how do you do that? You fucking go ham. There's certain times of the year your eBay sales will slow down just because of updates that they do. Usually right after Christmas, sales are a little bit shaky, right? Certain months, sales are shaky. What have I always encouraged people to do, and what do I do throughout them times? I get super zeroed in and focused, and I work on building my inventory up, right? There's always a solution, right? That way, when the sales do start picking up and eBay works out their kinks from all their updates, you have 10 times the amount of items that you had on, maybe not 10 times, right? It depends. For me, in order for me to have 10 times the items, oh my God, I'd have to have 25,000 or almost 50,000 items in my inventory. It'd be crazy, right? But you get what I'm saying. When you think, okay, my sales are slow, this is what I used to think. Why am I going to put energy into the platform when my sales are shit, right? Fuck that, man. If I'm not getting a result, I'm not putting in no work, right? And that bad attitude right there gave me really poor results throughout life. For example, I share my story of being incarcerated. I share my story with having so many jobs I can't even count them from my fingers to my toes together. I would have to count that probably 10 times over, right, to tell you how many different jobs I had. I'd go to a job, I'd quit, I'd go get another job, quit, go get another. I was very inconsistent. And what that did, when I was at them jobs, I always bitched and moaned about the pay. From me bitching and moaning about the pay, I put in the least amount of work I had to put into to not get fired and keep getting a paycheck. How many people do you work with at your 9 to 5 that does that, right? Probably a lot of people, right? Unless they're in a management position or they're climbing the corporate ladder. Instead, instead of bitching about my pay, I should have been doing something about it, right? How do you do something about it when you're at a 9 to 5 and you're at a shitty pay level and you're at your entry level? Well, you fucking go above and beyond. They say, hey, who wants to work overtime? You raise your hand. You show up 25 minutes early, 30 minutes early, 15 minutes early, and you don't leave till the job's done. Those type of people, when the next position opens up for you to climb up the ladder, you're the one that they're going to pick, regardless. So if you go into your 9 to 5 with the attitude, I'm going to give the least amount of effort that I possibly can, right, to not get fired, but still get a paycheck every week, that attitude has to shift. And it's happened to me. It happens to everybody when it comes to reselling. When you first start, you're going to be putting in whatever amount of work you put in, right? I encourage you to go in, right? Just and you're not going to see the results right away. So the amount of work you're putting in the beginning, you're not going to be getting the results right away. And sometimes that defeats people. It's defeated my thought process. I'm like, man, fuck this, man. I'm putting in a whole lot of work, and I'm not getting no rewards. And I had to constantly remind myself, just keep building your inventory. If you build it, they will come. I kept telling myself that. It's a stupid little thing. I kept telling myself, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. Every time I had a negative thought, I said that. If you build it, they'll come. They'll come. They'll come. Man, if you have inventory on eBay, your customers will come. I don't care who you are or what type of person, right? It doesn't matter. If you have a good inventory system with good items in it, your items are going to sell. The platform is a fucking monster. Okay, it's the second biggest I think it's the first biggest used item platform there is. You can't say that for Amazon because Amazon 90% of that is new items. Okay, I don't know the exact statistics. But, if you're going to sell used items, you're going to choose eBay over Amazon. Without a doubt, right? So, my opinion, eBay is the biggest platform where you can sell used and new. Of course, when it comes to top dog, it's Amazon, right? And I've thought about getting into Amazon, but there's a whole lot of more jumps and leaps. It's easier to get started on eBay than it is Amazon. And I've talked to people that do resell on Amazon, and they say the same thing, right? So, that's coming from them. I personally never tried to sell on anything on Amazon. I did the research. I looked up, and there was a bunch of areas where you were like limited to, you couldn't you had to wait a while before you could actually sell this item, and then you had to get an okay to sell. And I'm just like, that sounds like too much, man. I just want to go in my closet and grab a shirt and list it, right? And that's exactly what basically we did. But you're going to have these setbacks, without a doubt, you guys. And yesterday was a setback for me, but I turned a negative into a positive. So when an obstacle comes your way, figure out a way to take that negative and turn it into a positive. Learn from it. Do something constructive. I was thinking on my way into getting coffee this morning, all the different ways people can succeed on eBay, and the one that all of them can relate with is action, right? If you can get yourself to stop overthinking the whole fucking platform and whether you're doing it right or whether you're not, and just take action. And what do I mean by taking action? Taking your X amount of items, even if you don't know how to do a title, you don't know how to do item specifics, you don't know how to do your photography, you got shitty lighting, you don't even got a computer yet, right? All you're doing is using your phone. You don't have a label printer yet. You don't got a scale. You don't have nothing, right? Take the one item, do some photos, make up a title. Is the title going to be great? Probably not. Probably going to suck. But you got to start sucking before you can win, right? I find it funny where people will say, man, I keep getting set back on eBay. I'm losing drive. I'm losing this. I'm losing that. I'm like, well, thank God you didn't give up when you were a kid trying to walk, or you would be a grown-up trying to crawl still. Do you get what I'm saying? It's funny where kids, I think this is why kids don't give up. Now, I'm not a clinical psychologist, so it's not facts, right? But I think why kids don't give up, because they're not overthinking, okay? And they're not thinking about what Tim thinks about the baby fucking crawling, right? The fucking baby don't give a fuck. It's going to crawl. It's determined. A baby is determined to walk, right? They are some type of medical issue. And anybody have a child with special needs, I am not fucking pinpointing them whatsoever. I've actually took care of 2 kids that were special needs, that were immobile. They could not move, okay? What I'm saying is a kid is not going to give up when they're attempting something, especially crawling and walking, right? You ever notice that phase? They don't look around and be like, man, who's watching me? Okay, he's watching me, so I'm not going to try. They just try, right? And I look at adults, they'll try something for 30 days. They don't get the results they want, so they quit. And I'm like, what the fuck? The baby's more mature mentally than you are. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's because it's unmature. Maybe it's because the baby is so immature that it don't have the ability to think about what Tim is thinking of him when he is trying to crawl or she is trying to crawl. Maybe that's what it is. So if you could limit your thinking and just do, Nike says it best, just do. Who gives a fuck if you fuck up your first 100 items? Okay, if you fuck up your first 100 item titles, by the time you have 40,000 items in your inventory, whether that's your goal or not, whatever, by the time 3 years go down the road, you ain't even going to be thinking about them 100 first items. I guarantee that's going to be the last thing on your mind, but in the beginning, it's everything on your mind. You're like, oh my God, is my titles right? Are my titles right? Oh, did I miss an item specific? Did I list it for $2 too high? All that is going to go away. Pretty soon, you're not even going to worry about that. You're not even going to think about it. You're just going to list the item. But it's funny how we choke ourselves up in the beginning, isn't it? Isn't it funny? I don't know. I wasn't thinking it was funny in the beginning. I'm telling you that. I was fucking stressed out. I was going grayer by the minute. I was pulling my hair out. I was throwing boxes around down here, right? But the truth is now I look back at it now, I don't even think about whether I did the title right. I don't care. So what if I have one word in the wrong spot? Oh, well, my items are still selling. They're selling. Right? Who cares if my lighting is the best elite lighting on eBay? I don't care. I got lighting good enough so people can see the items and any defects that's in the items. Who cares if my backboard's as white as it should be, right? I see some of the top dogs in the world using beige. They have a beige background. It's actually off-white, and it does show the actual color of the item better. Right, the actual color of like this will show up better on a beige background than it would a plain white. Now, it's not every color, but the majority of colors are more neutral with beige than white. Sounds crazy, but it actually works, right? I'm not going to put their name out there, but I talk about him a lot. He's one of the best of the best, right? His backgrounds are beige. It's an off-white. It's not pure white. So in the beginning, the first year of me reselling, I'm wondering, oh my God, my white background has a little mark on it or smudge on it. It don't fucking matter, right? The shit we worry about in the beginning, 2 years down the road, you're not even going to think of. It's not even going to matter. So my firm belief is if you can eliminate all those what ifs, and turn it into action, pretty soon you're not going to have the what ifs, because it's just going to start working for you, right? I think that holds a lot of us up as resellers. I know it does. It held me up for a whole year. I studied the platform and resellers for a year before I set up a station, and it wasn't even a station. It was on my freaking kitchen with terrible lighting. It was fluorescent lighting, matter of fact, or whatever the lighting is that's yellow lighting, not the greatest lighting, right? It's not LED. It wasn't halogen. Maybe it was halogen. Yo, my man, what is up with you, Vic? What is up, Robert? Thank you so much for watching. For those of you that just joined, I started the group off as a catastrophic event happened yesterday, right? Not catastrophic, but it sucked, okay? Let's put it this way. It fucking sucked. I wake up, I make a video for us, right? And then I make my second video, and I wasn't able to launch it on YouTube neither. So if you guys on YouTube didn't see the second video, it did get uploaded at about 12:45 in the morning when our internet come back on. But anyways, I get to doing my daily routine. I make my video. I'm getting ready to package items and all this other stuff. And anyways, after my second video happened, shortly thereafter that, I go to start doing eBay, and I realized we had no internet. Now, to some people that maybe you live in the city, maybe you live somewhere that's got really great cell phone reception, right? Well, where I live in the boondocks, okay, I live out where you can murder somebody in my backyard and nobody would hear you, right? I'm fucking miles out in the sticks, right? So my cell phone service sucks, okay? In anywhere outside of my house, down the road a mile, down the road the other way 5 miles, perfect reception. Just so happens to be right where I'm at. I'm in the middle of a dead zone. So the internet goes out. So for me to actually list items, every item would have took an hour. Oh my God, I would have got 8 items up in an 8-hour day. I was irritated. I was like, fuck, I'm on a good roll and now I'm going to get set back. So I text my fiance and I vent to her. That's what we do, right? That's what relationships should do. You vent, they give you some good feedback, or they vent bad back to you, right? Depends on how that goes, right? But it went good. I vented to her. She's at work, right? Took her to work. I'm like, man, this sucks. You know, the internet's down. I can't stay on my roll today, and I'm not going to be able to get my second video up on YouTube like I said I was going to do for 365 days, right? 730 videos. So I'm down in the dumps. I'm pissed off at the fucking world, right? And then she texts back and says, babe, you've been talking about organizing your work area for like 2 months or more. And I'm like, at first, I resisted that. Okay, at first, I'm like, yeah, fuck that, man. That's not what I want to do, right? But it's what I didn't want to do that made me feel better down here today. Okay, because I actually didn't want to do it. Obviously, if I wanted to do it, I wouldn't have been talking about it for 2 months. It would have been done, right? So she gave me that good feedback that I needed and put a fire up under my ass. Hence the reason I make a lot of this video content, because sometimes we just need a little fire up under our ass. Look, you're not going to want to do everything. Every day is not going to go perfect. I just had a setback yesterday. It was out of my control. I couldn't do nothing. Again, Vic, I could have sat on the couch and grabbed some fucking potato chips and big old fat cherry Pepsi and kicked some Netflix on and fucking whined and cried about it all day, right? Instead of that, I reached out to somebody I know my fiance is going to give me good feedback. I know it, right? I've been with her 5 years. I know for a fact. She's going to try to encourage me in some other aspect. So I reached out to her. And she says, babe, you just go organize, right? Like, get something out of the negative. So that's what we did, and that's what stemmed this video was... it took a negative event, right? I couldn't list items. It was irritating. I was on a streak, and I'm like, you know, I'm not going to miss a day for 365 days. And then voila, that happens. Like, it's pretty much out of my control. You know, I don't know how else I could have did it. Maybe I could have did the photos and went up and sat at a McDonald's and listed the items. Now that I think about that, I could have did that. But then I wouldn't have had my area neater. It's not perfect, but it's neater. You'll see I got some of my boxes I put above head, so I actually have some walking space down here. Guys and girls, I was literally getting to a point where if I had to get to box 551 in the back corner back there, it would take me 5 minutes to get to that box. I'm growing out of my work area. But also that had to do with my inability or lack of responsibility of keeping it neat down here. We were talking about that, Vic, the other day in a video about, you got scissors, you don't even know where the hell they are. We went over that a little bit the other day. And it does feel better coming down here today to a neater, organized area. I'm actually more motivated to work, right? If you're in a really cluttered area and you're working, I think at least for me, it just irritates me, right? Like, if it takes me 5 minutes to get to a box, that's pretty fucking irritating, man. When I could have it set up in a simpler way. Now, is my setup perfect? No, I'll show you guys. Some of my boxes are falling apart because they got to be changed over. Is it perfect? No. I finally put all the clothes that need to be washed in 2 totes. I actually have area to walk. I can actually see my countertop. Now, this might look disorganized to some of you guys, but if you would have seen this beforehand, I'm outgrowing. Look, I'm outgrowing. I'm starting to get very little area for my inventory. And it's a sea of inventory through both rooms. Now, look at this one. Like, I'm starting to run out of area to get around in. You know what I mean? Like this, at one time, this is items ready to be listed, right? But there used to not be them 2 boxes on there, and I could have less items in the garage, more items here, prepped, washed, ready to go. Now I got 2 boxes sitting on here and limiting my space here. So I'm actually I'm glad what happened yesterday actually happened. because I actually can walk around in my work area now. Now, it still is a small area for me to walk around in, but it's enough for me to get to my computer, get to my listing station, get to my photography board, and actually make video content. When I was making video content, guys, I had to move shit around to make an area. I usually put my camera up here so you guys see me here. I had to move shit around for a few minutes just to make a fucking video, and that was getting irritating. So I'm looking into other ways. I actually watched a video on, it was a Reels my fiance sent me or something, where they actually put these metal rungs on top of the ceiling, like where these floor joists are, right? And they were sliding inventory totes up top. Oh my God, I could triple my fucking inventory like that, right? Granted, I got shit hanging, so it would only be able to be in a couple limited areas. But that's a really smart idea, is the slider boxes that go up on top. But then you got to pull them down. But you know what? That's what happens. My desk pile is in tubs, stacked everywhere. I go tub by tub. It takes me about 30 minutes to set up and start listing. Yeah, that's irritating, Vic. I've been there, dude. I've been there. Before I had the listing board I had now, I had to manually set something up every day. And sometimes that would take me an hour. That would irritate me. I like being able to... This is where I put I'll show you guys how I do it. This right here, this small spot on this table, is right where I stack my inventory. Okay, my clothes I'm going to list. And then, so that way, all I got to do is grab it from here, put it up here, put it up here on the board. You see, my lighting ain't perfect. Look, I got lines running through it from the lights. I got holes in my board. I got spots in my board. I love these boards, though. If you sell clothes, I strongly encourage you to get one. I got this one at Walmart or Meijer's. It gives you measurements vertically and horizontally. Works perfect for clothing. But then after I do my photography, I set my items right here. Get these out of the way. I set my items right here. And then I got my listing station. And then I got my poly bags right up here. So it's all incremental, very simple process for me now. It didn't used to be that way. And that lighting is terrible. I didn't used to have it like that. Like you said, Vic, it used to take me about an hour just to set up, dude. And that is discouraging. You know why? That's discouraging for me because I was overthinking it from the morning. From the moment I woke up in the morning, I'm like, fuck, I got to set this shit up before I can even get started. I think it's a lot better when you can just start and just go, right? It took me a while to get just the setup. And this setup isn't like, guys, it's nothing like... The most expensive part of my setup is probably the listing desk. It's a computer desk. You know how much I paid for it? $0. It was donated to us. But it's a table. I got a table. In my board, my actual board I list on, is a big fat chunk of styrofoam. Insulation styrofoam. Like you would put up as you're building your walls in your house or whatever. And I got a couple nails up top that's holding it on an angle, and it's setting on top of one of them fold-out freaking tables you get at Walmart. And it's that simple. It cost me like fucking $45 for the table. That's it. The styrofoam was sitting in the garage somewhere. I wrapped it with this tape or this paper right here. I wrapped it with the tape you get or that white paper you get at Walmart, and I did that 2 times because it's too wide, right? So I did that 2 times. I taped on that measuring board, and I fucking called it good. And this is the way I've been listing for 2 years now, and it works really good. It don't ever fail me. The styrofoam don't break. It doesn't shift. Once in a while, I got to use a safety pin if there's something that's like slidey. If the material of the clothes are slidey, like I'll use a safety pin to hold it up, and that's about it. I keep my background set up, but it's just a whiteboard. But usually there's things stacked on it from me sorting cards and what. Yeah. That's my listing table, dude. That's my catch-all place on my listing table, which is terrible. I think people get things. My listing table is where I'm actually listing the item. My photography board is what you guys are actually sitting on right now. But I do anything that throughout the process that occurs winds up on the listing table. I used to use a white piece of paneling for like walls. Oh yeah, that'd be perfect, dude. Oh, that'd be really like wood paneling, like that imitation, whatever they glue a bunch of shit together and stick it there. All right, you guys, I gotta wrap this up. We gotta go visit one of the kids today, and but I just wanted to make this video to encourage people. Look, if something happens, there's always something you can do, man. The magnets would probably work best than safety pins. Magnets? I don't have anything it would magnet to, I don't think. You know what I mean? White piece of paneling for like walls, lol. Magnets would probably work. How would I use magnets on what? My board, it was horrible. Right. You know, and look, anything will work though. Like I didn't spend money on this shit. I went out in my garage and I got creative. But I did spend money. I spent a few bucks on whatever that white paper shit was, right? But the whole point of this whole video, I don't want to get too sidetracked, was literally shit happened yesterday that was out of my control. But we still got a good out of it. So make sure you do that. Like, something's going to happen. One on back, one on top. Yeah, that would work too. But my board, my styrofoam board is this thick. So I don't know how big of a magnet I would have to put on the back. Yeah, I don't know how big of a magnet I would have. It's literally 2 inches thick, the styrofoam board. Here, I'll give you a side shot of it. You can see the paneling for the foam board. It's about 2 inches thick. So in order to get something like that, I think I'd have to get a pretty powerful magnet. The easiest thing to me was just a safety pin. It works for me right now. It doesn't put a hole. It's so huge in the fabric that people bitch about it. Now, if it's something that is a really high quality material, I have used tape. I've used like a little piece of tape, and that's worked, but that also messes up my board. There's always something. So if you have a setback, don't let it discourage you. There's always something to work on. It's your boy Flippin' Soup. You guys have a rocking day.